it's good to be able to reach you again. History, they say, is a good teacher. A good teacher because it helps us to learn from the mistakes and the successes of those who are past. We can learn by reading, we can learn by watching films that document the history of the past that we didn't know about. But sometimes when we read about the things that happened in the past and watch some of the things that happened in the past, we come up with wishes that they could be repeated again. That those things that we read about or that we saw in the films maybe that we've watched would happen again in our time. Sadly, not all of them can happen. And even those that are able to be repeated again in our time, we know that they don't happen the same way as it happened in the past. They don't happen the same way majorly because the actors that made them happen are different. The circumstances may be the same, the challenge, the success might be the same, but the actors are different. So when there are challenges in our lives and we sit down and reflect and see how it was settled over time, you find out that the problem which sometimes we face is that the actors now facing the problems are different. And so their disposition and their understanding of the present challenge becomes different. But today, I want to tell you that God has told us that He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Which means that for being the actor in history, He remains the same. So whatever He has done in the past, He can repeat again. The circumstances might be different for us, but He who is the actor, who moves things and we don't see sometimes and don't know how He does them, will always be the same. It is the scenario that we see in the book of Habakkuk, where the prophet of God was stunned by what God has said He was going to do, using people that the prophet didn't see worthy enough to bring discipline to God's people. And after God had spoken to him and told him what He was going to do, the prophet of God, knowing God and what he had heard in history about God and wanted it to be repeated again, made this declaration. I'll read the New Living Translation of Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 2. It says, I have heard all about you, Lord. I am filled with awe by your amazing works. In this time of our deep need, help us again as you did in years gone by. And in your anger, remember your mercy. Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 2, New Living Translation. He's requesting of God to repeat again what he had heard about in the past. What he had heard God had done, he needed him to do again because they were in deep need of his deliverance. They needed help and they were in need of it and had no one to turn to, but they knew that in circumstances like this that had happened before, the unchanging God was still capable of repeating deliverance, repeating healing, repeating hope that he had given to his people again. And so he called out to God and said, we are in deep need. And I don't know who is listening to me. You might be in a deep need for financial help, deep need for healing, deep need for peace in your life because of the crisis around you. Deep need because all who are around you have left you, so you are lonely and you need someone to be around you, to comfort you. You need hope in your life. Deep need for some situation that you are going through. The joy that I bring to you today is that God can still repeat what he did in the past, in providing for you, in meeting that deep need that you have. Your assignment is to do what he has asked you to do. And so the prophet says, in your anger, remember to be merciful. Because maybe you have done things that didn't please him and are facing the circumstances of those things that you have done. He is, and still is a merciful God. So let your mind and heart be at rest that he is merciful. And let your mind be at rest that he can repeat history over your life. So I don't know what you're going through. Financial situation, he is the great provider. Healing, he is the great healer. Is a need for a miracle that is beyond you, he can still do it. He has the capacity. Is a need for company, His Spirit will bear witness with your spirit and give you peace in your heart. Whatever your need is, this God can repeat history and make His glorious presence valuable to you again in your life. So don't be in despair. Don't lose hope. God will meet your need. He is capable and able to do it. Thank you again for listening. Please subscribe, please share, and above all, rejoice always. God bless you.